All right. Well, we got some big news. Errol Spence Jr. versus Danny Garcia has moved dates from November to December. I believe the date is December 5th, and it will be competing with Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell on the DAZN card. So that is good for a lot of reasons. I do believe for everybody involved, but not some question marks there. But let's talk about that and what this all means and how it's going to play out, I think, in this video. All right. Welcome back. Welcome back. So, hey, make sure you guys hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, all those good things. Thank you guys, everybody, for coming to support the channel. Also, well, anyway, let's just get right into it. Errol Spence Jr.'s fight with Danny Garcia has been moved, and it was originally supposed to be in November. I think the third week of November. It was either November 17th or November 21st. First was supposed to be the date for the fight, and now it has moved up. I think or back 3 weeks, and now would be in December. So this is a really good thing, man. This is a good thing. It's a good thing, I do believe, for Errol Spence Jr. I think that it is a really good thing for Danny Garcia. I think it's a very good thing for boxing fans. I even think that it's a good thing for DAZN and Ryan Garcia and Luke Campbell. You know, I just think all around this is just one of these things where it's like I looked at it from all the angles that I could look at it from, and I was like, man, everybody should be happy about this fight getting pushed back. Now, and the reason why they should be happy about it is the reason why it's being moved. Now, when the fights were all made, I guess they announced this. When did they announce it? Whenever that Showtime announced their cards and Fox started, people started telling people when their fights were going to be in the second half of 2020. I warned you guys. It's like, look, many of these cards are going to move dates. And they're going to move dates because a fighter here and there might not be able to fight for health reasons, right? And that's just something you should expect. There's every fighter now there'll be a lot of reasons why fights don't take place that aren't related to somebody ducking. Very well could be that somebody has something. Look at what happened with Herring. Herring, the WBO 126-pound champion. He had his fight. Jamel Herring had his fight rescheduled multiple times, right? And I was like, man, that could happen to any one of these big fights. Now, it's good news though that that's not the case. At least that, from what I understand, that is not the case. That the case is that Errol Spence or the PBC, Danny Garcia, wanted to have that fight outdoors. And they had just done the same, like they just did last week with Leo Santa Cruz versus, Gervonta Davis versus Leo Santa Cruz, when they moved that, when I think they pushed that fight back from the first week of October to Halloween, right? Which resulted in, I think, things that really do benefit the fighters and the network. So, and it's something that, and it's definitely a good thing to have it held up for fans too, because these are all very, very good fights, man. And if you spread them out a little bit more, the expense doesn't necessarily have to hit you as much. So from my perspective, I'm like, hey, man, I like that. Don't mind that at all. But it gives a lot of advantages. Like if the crowds are going to be there, these guys are going to have longer training camps. Because there are fans in attendance, and I did look at the the layout for the tickets for the Gervonta Davis fight, and it was kind of hard to tell where the tickets were going to be. It didn't seem like there were going to be a lot of tickets available, so I'm not sure what that would be. I mean, maybe they're also getting a fee. They have to be paying to use the place, so I'm not quite sure how many crowds are going to be. But every ticket sold and every hot dog sold and every T-shirt sold is more money, and that's more earning potential. So I think that is really good for both parties, man. Now, as far as what I said about why it's good for DAZN, I think it's really good for DAZN because nobody cares about their product. And the more people that there are in boxing, boxing fans that are interested in looking to see fights, hey man, they might wind up consuming other fights that are taking place that day. Because I'm gonna tell you for sure, when the day of Errol Spence Jr. Versus Danny Garcia is a big fight. That's a big fight. That's a very big fight. So people who are hardcore boxing fans that are going to be watching that fight in their homes, these guys, anybody that is willing to fight, anybody that is willing to pay $75 for a fight, you have a good chance or a better than average chance that they're also going to be watching fights, that they could be watching the fights on DAZN, especially with a young kid like Ryan Garcia and Luke Campbell, which is really a good fight. That's not a bad fight at all. It's not for a championship belt. I think it's either for an interim belt or something like that, but not a real championship, but something to put on either Luke Campbell or Ryan Garcia's, on their mantle. But the more people that are going to be interested, because there's a lot of people are going to be interested in the Errol Spence Jr. and Danny Garcia fight. So if they time the fight, if they do the timing of the fight right, Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell should be competing against some of the undercard fights for Errol Spence Jr. versus Danny Garcia, and that could bode well for them, man, right? Because I haven't seen the card. I don't know what Errol's card is off the top of my head, but I'm not going to miss. I'm not, if I can at all help it, I'm not going to miss Ryan Garcia versus Luke Campbell. I think that is a very, very solid fight, and it's a fight that I believe Ryan Garcia will win. And Ryan Garcia has a chance to look spectacular against a guy who has been in the ring with Vasily Lomachenko, and a guy that has been in the ring, that is with Jorge Linares. Now, Jorge Linares beat him. Vasily Lomachenko beat him, but Luke Campbell proved that he was a top world-class fighter, man. And Luke Campbell ain't going to be walking in. One thing for sure is Luke Campbell's not going to be walking into that ring with Ryan Garcia. Luke Campbell's not going to be walking in there scared. He's an Olympic gold medalist, man. He feels like I said, he's been a challenger, a contender for the title multiple times. He's going to be in, and he's a solid fighter, a tough fighter, a big 135 pounder. Now, I just happen to think that Ryan Garcia is more talented, and Ryan Garcia is more than likely going to knock him out, but we don't know. So I want to see that fight. So I don't think that's bad for Ryan Garcia, even, and not just the fight, but all of the press and things that goes around that, man. That's going to keep Ryan Garcia's name buzzing. All he got to do is get past that Luke Campbell. And if he gets past Luke Campbell with a lot of buzz around him, then, man, dude, he's right where he wants to be. He's right where he wants to be, with one of them phony belts, but right there with everybody else that got one of them little phony secondary belts. But he would have beaten a top-notch guy. And people won't say, oh, Jason Duno, yeah, who's Jason Duno? Who did he knock out? Francisco Fonseca. Let's see if he can get out Luke. If he can get out Luke Campbell in front of those, at the same night that Errol Spence Jr. and Danny Garcia are fighting, dude, the highlight reels, all that stuff is going to be flashing around a lot more heavily for Ryan Garcia. So, and then again, like I said, it's a great situation for Errol Spence, because Errol Spence Jr. we had the car wreck, obviously. I don't know, what difference, an extra 3 weeks is going to make relative to that. But I know as far as his conditioning and because he's already in camp, and, this camp, Errol Spence Jr. came in on weight, when before, now this is what he says, before he would always be for the last 3 fights, I assume for the last 3 fights, that he would come into camp and he would be losing weight during camp, and that would take away from his strength and conditioning. That would take away from his game planning. That would would just be taken away from, his ability to really hit the road going. Now, with this situation, or hit the ground running, excuse me. With this situation, Errol Spence Jr. has been very focused in his own words, he's been very focused on his weight. You can see now, and this is, you've been able to see this at least since the beginning of August, that he looks like he's right around his weight. He doesn't have the full face or any of that, right? So August, September, August, all of September. So in October, Now he's gonna move that fight up to December. So you got November and all of November, all of September, October, and November for him to be ready to go. Man, I think that is just going to be absolutely fantastic. I think it's going to be absolutely fantastic. And uh I'm glad that it happened. And again, I'm glad that it didn't. Most happy that it didn't have that it didn't get delayed because somebody got something. However, still in the environment we are in, I wouldn't be surprised if that still happened. But anyway, now we got the update. You let me know what you think about it. Is it good for everybody? Is it not good for everybody? And with that, I'm out. Peace.